Welcome to Railfans Canada. I'm Shane Seguin. Joining me today is Mary-Ellen Gleeson, who's the manager of the rail construction program here in Ottawa.
Hi, thanks for having me.
So today we're here at the Montreal Station. We can see some of the LRVs coming through. Tell us a little bit about the station, the design, and the layout that people will find once it's open in the coming months.
Sure. So Montreal Station is unique compared to the rest of the east stations on the alignment, and that's because we have an elevated platform for the passengers to be able to access the train. So in the original configuration of the Montreal interchange, what we had was the 174 bridges crossing over top of Montreal Road underneath. In order for us to be able to start construction of the LRT, what we had to do was move the highway further out, both in the north and south directions, to make room for us to build the guideway in the station in the middle. So what that involved is realignment of all of the ramps within the interchange, construction of 2 new bridges, and then the demolition of the existing bridges, which made room for us to be able to construct the bridge that we're standing on right now, which contains Montreal Station.
Can you tell us a little bit about the East Extension stations, kilometers, the various facts that make up this important project?
Yeah, definitely. So we pick up the Stage 2 East Extension from Blair, which is on the north side of the 174. We then continue east, and then we go over the flyover structure, which brings the guideway into the middle of the 174. We then run all the way to Trim. That's a total of 12.5 kilometers of additional rail that we're adding to the network. There's 5 new stations that we're building as part of this, which is Montreal Station, Jeanne d'Arc Station, Convent Galen, Place d'Orleans, and Trim, which is the terminus station for the East Stage 2 extension.
So one of the unique things about the East Extension is it's all found in the median of the Highway 174. We have sound walls on both sides. The sound is pretty reasonable. Can you talk about the measures that you have put in place to help attenuate and make the sound not an issue for people waiting for the train here?
Sure. So there was an original environmental assessment that assessed kind of what was going to be the impact of the construction of this project, and along with that there was recommendations that were built into the project agreement of where to add the sound attenuation. So that was kind of baked into the project agreement, and then through subsequent discussions there were some additional areas where noise walls were added. The noise walls here kind of separate the people who are going to be on the platforms from the vehicular traffic, and you'll see something similar at all of the eastern stations when they're at the platform level to be able to separate some of the noise from the traffic for the users of the system.
Now we're looking at the station here. It's a 2-level station. The entrances are underneath the highway overpass, underneath on Montreal Road. Platforms are on top. So can you talk a bit about the layout of the station and how it flows from one end to the other?
Sure. So if you're accessing the station either from bus or from cyclists, or if you're walking to the station, you're going to be able to access on either the east or west side of Montreal Road. So with the new interchanges that we've built, there's lots of crosses there to be able to get you to where you want to go. But from whether you're coming up from the east stairs or the west stairs, in the roadway side, what you have is the ticket vending machines, so you can grab your tickets and then enter into the station. We have these big open areas that you're going to be able to walk through. You'll be going through the fare-controlled gates, and then you can either access the platform from a set of stairs or from elevators. Both the east and west side stairs will bring you to the same platform. So it doesn't matter where you access from, but that'll bring you up to the platform where you can access trains that are going east towards Trim or west towards the rest of Stage 1 alignment.
So as part of the East Extension with the 5 stations, how many traction power substations are there and where are they located?
It's a great question. We have 5 traction-powered substations, and they roughly line up with the 5 stations that we have. There's one here at Montreal Station. It's on the northeast side of the station. You can kind of see it in the highway interchange. The traction-powered substation takes AC power from the grid. It brings it into the building, and it transforms it into DC current. We have 1500 volt DC currents that power our OCS lines, which are live, which feed power to the train.
And what kind of redundancy does the power system have? Let's say one of those stations were to go out, can the adjacent stations take over the requirements?
Yeah, all of the TPSSs are interconnected, and they provide a level of redundancy so that if one does go out, you can typically backfeed from another.
Now, this project's been going on for several years. There's been a lot of changes in the east, the highway moving back and forth, deviating, some little detours, some little closures. How has it been What kind of challenges have you found there have been in this construction due to it being in the middle of an active highway?
Yeah, that's definitely been a big challenge for the project, and I would say the residents of the area probably would say the same sentiment, trying to balance between the needs of the project and being able to construct the project with a high quality and with a reasonable time frame has resulted in some impacts. We're also kind of conflicted just with the property that we have and what we're able to maintain. So a lot of the early works of the project really was moving the highway to be able to make space for us to build the infrastructure in the middle of the highway, which has kind of come with some challenges. But as we approached the end of the construction, we kind of finalized our guideway. We were able to get work done inside, and then there will be some level of remaining works to be able to finalize the alignment of the 174 once we're done.
So in conjunction with the light rail project, there were different civil infrastructure improvements that were made in this eastern extension. Can you name some of those and explain what they offer to the community?
Sure. So there's some stuff that probably you can't see, like underground utility infrastructure that had to be replaced to facilitate the project. But what I think people will appreciate a little bit more is the active transportation infrastructure that we built as part of the project. So there's a long map that we have built that we're hoping to open this coming year, which runs from Blair all the way through the Montreal interchange and then continues further east. That includes a crossing of Greens Creek, which is a little structure that we've built just east of Montreal Station. There's a few other connectivity pieces as well that we've built throughout the east alignment.
Now, as we started our video, one of the trains passed through. Testing is obviously a big critical component of bringing this line into service. So can you tell us about some of the steps that are necessary from now until opening to get this train running?
Sure. So you can see from a station construction perspective and from a guideway construction perspective, we're pretty close. We're kind of in the tracking of the deficiencies to make sure that all construction is as close to 100% complete as we can get. With the testing of the train, what also has to be done is the testing of the rest of the systems that go along with it. So it's not just the vehicle itself. The vehicle talks to a bunch of other devices that all feed back to the Train Operation Control Center that's run by OC Transpo in Belfast. So there's many systems that are integrated into that. The process that we're going through now is a process of migrating a lot of these systems like SCADA, like CCTV, like the fire alarm panels, like the emergency telephones. All of those systems have to go from a test environment where we've been working for the last several years to make sure all of the devices work properly into the live environment, which is the Train Operation Control Center. So this is what's required in order to get us ready to be able to open to the public. It's very important that before we do the migration that we're very confident in what we've installed and that we've tested it so that there's no disruptions on stage one. So it's this phased approach that we're taking now that's going to open up the next phase of the project, which is going to be operator testing, and then as we move towards substantial completion of the project.
So as part of the ramp up to opening the line, can you talk a little bit about the testing of the trains? What are people going to start seeing over the next couple of weeks and months as we lead up to the opening?
Yeah, it's a great question. We kind of have had two phases of testing. So the train testing that people have seen up until now is a lot of testing of the infrastructure. And so making sure that the OCS is working, it's communicating with the train, that the train is communicating with all of the other devices and everything is working together. As we move towards migrating into the TOCC, we're going to see a lot more train movements. This is going to further test the system and also advance operator familiarization with stage 2. Once we reach substantial completion and we get into the pre-trial running and trial running phases, we'll see even more train testing movements back and forth, and that's to kind of simulate when we will be in passenger service.
So the East Extension has 5 stations from Montreal, Jeanne d'Arc, Convent Glen, Place Orleans, and Trim Road. Of those 5, which would be your favorite and why?
I really like Montreal Station, where we are today, and I think it's because I love civil infrastructure. It's really at the heart of what I love to build, and a lot of civil infrastructure went into building this station. So like we said at the beginning, we had to build 2 new bridges before we were even able to start the bridge that we're standing on today. With that, once we did the traffic flip and we had to come in and demolish the existing bridges, that happened in 1 weekend. So we had tons of equipment in place. We had almost 1,500 cubic meters of concrete removed and 160 metric tons of steel that were moved. And like big infrastructure like that is pretty fun to watch.
As the manager of construction for Stage 2 O Train, what makes you passionate and excited and eager to get up every day to be part of this project?
It's a great question. I think it kind of comes in two phases. One, I'm an Ottawa native, and really being part of a project that is changing the face of the city is something I'm very proud of. I think that with Stage 2, we will be changing the way people live and move throughout the city. And then the other part of it is I'm a civil engineer and I really love building infrastructure. I've been part of the project since 2019, and so I've seen this project from tree cutting and borehole investigations through to the utility infrastructure, all of the civil infrastructure that we built to be able to get into the guideway, and then all of the infrastructure for the guideway, the track, the OCS. Now where we're into train testing and system integration, it's pretty amazing to see. It's very engaging and makes me want to come to work every day.
So Mary-Ellen Gleeson, thank you very much for your time taking us through Montreal Station. Very excited to see it open in the coming months and for everybody to enjoy it. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much for coming, and we can't wait to have you and everybody else on board.
Thank you.